So, hello and welcome to this week's edition of Sewing Club. Mum, what are we doing this week?
This week we're going to make a cushion.
And this is one you've made earlier.
These are two I've made earlier.
And so we're going to be putting a flower on today.
Today we're going to put a smiley face on.
We made a smiley face in a recent video, didn't we?
Yes, so you've got a head start.
And of course you can refer back to that video if you want to know how to make the best smiley face.
So I cut two squares the same size. Mine are 25 centimetre squares. There we are.
As it says.
I also cut two circles to fit onto my squares. And I picked colours that matched. First of all, I'm marking my eyes with a pen.
What are you doing here?
On one circle, I'm going to sew my buttons on to make the eyes for the smiley face. Make sure your knots are on the back. And go through the button twice. And then do that cheat where you nip across to the other mark for the other eye.
So that's where you go round the back of what you're sewing.
Yeah. So through the second button twice and make a knot.
And then once you've made the knot, snip off your thread.
The next bit is the mouth.
So just draw on a mouth here with a biro, so you've got a guide to sew over.
Quite hard to see, but we're going to cover it up with stitching as well. Remember, knot at the back.
So you start at the edge of the smile with a knot at the back.
That's right. And we're going to do back stitch again.
What was back stitch?
Back stitch looks like running stitch to start with, but you end up with all the stitches joined together in a continuous line.
So you don't have any gaps in your smile.
That's right, nice smile.
And this is just for the decoration of the cushion, right?
This is just to put on the cushion to make it look really cheerful.
So you can decorate it with anything that you feel like.
Yep, like I showed you at the beginning, you can put a flower on, you can put a heart on, or any other shape you fancy cutting out.
So once you've finished sewing the smile on, make a knot at the back again, and then snip the end of the thread off. So that's the face of the cushion done already.
So now I'm pinning all my layers together. And I'm going to sew round the smiley face to hold it on. So I'm sewing from the back of all the layers. So all the way through. This is just a running stitch round the edge of the face. And what's a running stitch?
Well, I've heard you say that a running stitch is just lots of little lines, but I don't think that really tells you what's going on in the sewing world there.
There you go, you can see the little lines at the back.
So it is just little lines.
And you can see the face is now attached to my first piece of cushion.
So is that the first bit of fabric done at this point?
Yep, that section's done now. You could stitch around the other blue as well, the other blue circle, but we're going to just cheat and leave it because I don't think it's going to fall off. So put the two pieces together.
And you're leaving the smile on the inside here. I wasn't expecting this when we first filmed this.
We're going to turn it the right way out when we're finished. So there's your smile inside, all the right sides of the fabric together. This is where we leave a gap.
So we'll sew all the way around the edge. We'll just leave this gap here. And what are we leaving that gap for?
That's so we can turn it the right way out and put some stuffing in at the end.
Ah.
So I'm pinning my two pieces together so they don't move, keeping all my edges together.
See, I know if I did this and I didn't pin it together, it would end up a right mess.
And it's a running stitch all the way around the edge. Keep your stitches fairly small and close together, otherwise your stuffing will squeeze out of the gaps.
So what's going on here?
There's not enough thread on my needle to go all the way around. Think about it, if each side is 25 centimetres, you're going to need more than a metre to get all the way round the side because 4 25s are 100.
So what happens when you run out of thread?
You have to rejoin with some more thread.
But have you knotted first?
I have knotted the end of the bit I was in the middle of and I've knotted the new bit.
So you run out of thread, you knot what's left, and then you start with your new thread from where you left off.
Yeah.
So this is the main bit of this sewing session really, isn't it?
It takes quite a long time sewing around the edge, but it's good to make a good job of it. So we're taking our pins out before we turn it the right way out.
You do not want to sit on your cushion if you've left a pin in it. And that's the gap we left earlier.
It's like turning a pair of socks the right way out, or a pillowcase. Push your fingers right into the corners so you get a nice shape. There we are. Can't see any raw edges, any rough bits of thread or any knots, it's all inside.
Let's stuff that cushion now.
I'm using polyester toy filling, but if all you've got is an old t-shirt, that would be fine.
And now we're sewing what looks like its mouth shut. So this is just the gap now going to be closed so we don't have stuffing falling out of our cushion. So pin it together again.
Fold the raw edges inside.
And what type of stitch is this?
This is just a whip stitch to go over the edge.
So why are we using a whip stitch here?
We could use running stitch. If you prefer that, it's fine.
What made you go for whip stitch?
I think it's tidy and keeps the edges together.
And if you've got a nice colour of thread, it does look kind of decorative to have it visible around the outside sometimes.
You could sew a whip stitch all the way around the outside after you've totally finished the cushion to decorate.
An extra decorative challenge add on there. Looks a bit fiddly at the end.
It is.
So what are you doing, just tying a knot?
I've tied my knot and I'm threading my thread into the middle of the stuffing so I don't have an end sticking out.
Hey, one finished cushion.
And another one.
And another.
We've had a busy afternoon.
We certainly have. How can I keep up to date with Sewing Club videos?
You need to click the subscribe button below.